got this conception in society that responsible adults keep up with the news and stay well informed. But that's a lot of crap. The news doesn't inform us well, and it doesn't inform us about anything important. Now, in trying to show you that news culture is just entertainment, there are a lot of easy targets for me. There are attractive news anchors and the great rapport they pretend to have with each other. There are programs such as Today and Sunrise that mix their news stories in with C-list celebrity interviews and infomercials for products like the vegetable Slice-O-Matic. Even Last Week Tonight, that aims for greater depth in longer pieces, presents its findings as a series of jokes and of entertaining bits of footage that were found during the research. Now, for the rest of this presentation, I'm going to focus on hard news, the stories that make up the first 7 or 8 minutes of a TV news broadcast or make it to the front page of a newspaper. Because the rest of it, the celebrity stories, the animal stories, the sports coverage, it's far too easy to argue that all of that is just entertainment, and we all kind of know that already anyway. The first thing I have to say about hard news is that it's often presented without any context. On TV, a hard news story lasts for about 2.5 minutes, and it's often from some part of the world or from some institution that the audience knows next to nothing about. So you might get a story of Canadian politics, or the CSIRO, or the Lucas Heights reactor, or the European Union. Let's say we get a story about the Lucas Heights reactor. Let's say there was a safety incident there. Now, who in the audience for that story is going to know enough context to put any safety incident into a meaningful perspective? Virtually no one. And these stories last for only 2.5 minutes, so it's not possible to fit all that context in there. And this principle of subject matter without context applies to most of the institutions that we see in the news today, even the US presidency. And isn't that entertaining at the moment? With most news outlets, there's no good reason to believe that the reporters themselves knew any of the context before they were assigned the story that day. And so we get this pattern where where the reporter starts with the issue and then simplifies or ignores the context for an audience who has no context anyway. It's like the blind leading the blind. And it leads to this truly bizarre pattern of information that we've all so gotten used to that we don't find it bizarre anymore. And in the first 8 minutes of a TV news broadcast, you'll get the US president sent a tweet. There's a volcano in Iceland that's about to erupt. There was a shark spotted near Bondi Beach today. Somewhere in the world, there's a scandal into performance-enhancing drugs. And what this is, it's constant distractions to stop the audience from getting bored. It's a format for entertainment. And what do we learn from this game of peekaboo for adults? Generally nothing worth retaining, and certainly nothing we remember. And in putting together these 2-minute stories for TV or 500 words for print, reporters have a shortcut up their sleeve: sound bites. If you don't know anything about a story yourself, talk to some people who do and quote them. And which sound bites are going to make it to your the final cut of your piece? The most entertaining. If you're a reporter and you get Tony Abbott saying that climate change is a good thing because more people die in a cold snap, are you going to leave that out of your story? Hell no. Context, balance, perspective all take second place to entertainment value. Who here reads newspapers? Anyone? A couple of you. You're not much better off. Newspapers are a bit more respectable than TV, but for the most part, they still follow this simplify, soundbite, and entertain format. Of course, the internet has come along now. There are thousands of news sites on the internet, but for the most part, they follow the news format set by TV and set by newspapers. And of course, the internet adds a lot of entertaining features of its own. Clickbait, for example. And if you think you're paying attention to any of these stories for reasons other than entertainment, if you think these stories are important, I have one question for you. What's your plan? And this question confuses a lot of people because it's a logical, common sense question to ask. If these stories are so important, what do you personally intend to do about them? What do you intend to do about gun control in the US? What do you intend to do about penalty rates in Australia? What do you intend to do about North Korea? And here, I'll take the liberty of answering for you. You intend to do nothing. To be perfectly fair to that last question, you do intend to vote once in a while. I should say you intend to vote at the federal level because most of us know next to nothing about the state government and absolutely nothing about our local councils. Nothing entertaining ever happens there. Federal Parliament, though, is full of familiar characters. At least the House of Representatives is. We're bored by the equally powerful Senate. And when we vote, we might not understand the Senate ballot paper, and we might not be able to name any legislation that was passed in the last 3 years, but damn it, we know that we don't like Malcolm Turnbull. And that's a firm enough foundation for voting for most of us. That is what an entertaining news culture has done to our voting standards, ladies and gentlemen. The news is a constant source of entertainment. That's all it is. Thank you.